Welcome back to Landon on Mars podcast. I am your host, Nestor the Spitter, and today I am live from San Antonio, Texas. To the left of me, to the right of you, I got my brother Roy. He's in town. I have been wanting him on the podcast, so he's showing up, and we're about to get into it. No homo. To the right of me, to the left of you, is my nephew Chris, my godson, that boy Chris, aka Hollywood. And yes, we here, we live, like I said, location San Antonio, and I have been wanting to get my brother on the podcast for a very long time, and with the career he has, he's not in town a lot, until and pretty soon he'll be in town for a very long time. But what I remember is my brother took off when I was about 13, and for the most part, he's been gone since. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, it's his career. So, what exactly do you do in the Navy, bro? Like, if you could break it down, what could you break it down to?
So, I'm born for pay grade. I'm an E9. E9 is the most senior enlisted rank in the military. Okay. So, my job now is 4 or 5 years ago. I went the program, the Command Master Chief program. I got accepted for the Command Master Chief program, and what that means in today's world out here is HR. I deal with HR, deal with sailor situations, finances, domestic violence, drug use, mentoring, management. So I deal with HR. I deal with a lot of people's stuff.
And help you?
Yeah. And I'm in for us in the job chain. I'm the senior enlisted advisor for all the enlisted for the command, and I bring all issues and recommendations and stuff up to the command officer, the CEO, and the XO.
Oh wow! Wow! Now you see, I know you've always said what you have done, but I don't think you've ever been in depth of what you have done. So, as far as from where you're at now, in the beginning when you first got in, could in the beginning when you first got in, could you have seen yourself where you're at now?
Nah. I came in blindfolded because, as you know, nobody from our family had ever joined the Navy. It was all Marines, Air Force, Army. So I wanted to be opposite.
Something different.
And it helped that Dad was a Marine. So when I went to the Navy, he had a couple choice words for me.
Oh wow!
That I wasn't man enough to be a Marine. So
wow. I had no idea.
He talks smack. It's all good. And you know what though? Marines, they get on our ship and we drop them off, we pick them up later on. So, that's what it is. But now, anybody that knows me now that knew me then, they talk smack. Man, dude, I would have never known that, one, you'd be where you're at and what you do because you're a piece of crap sailor back then, which I was. But, you live and you learn. You're a better man. At 25, you were at 15. You're a better man. At 40, and you were at 25.
I totally agree with that.
So but nobody would have believed that I would still be doing and where the position I'm at if they knew me then.
So along the journey, did you ever hit those bumps? And if you did hit those bumps, what helped you get back on track? As far as when you hit those bumps, it's man, I just want to give up. Or did you ever get to that point? When you were in there, did you ever doubt yourself, or did you ever were you ready just to dip, or were you
plenty of times?
Yeah,
plenty of times. So when I joined where we were living at as a family, once I joined, Dad moved to a smaller place. Okay. So I knew I wasn't gonna have a room if I got out. So he's pretty much saying, "Don't come back over here." So
I did not recognize none of that, bro.
Yeah, because we lived Chapique.
Yes,
and then we went to Vida Mendes.
Yes, I remember.
So and it was a smaller apartment.
Yes, okay.
And so we went from a house to a smaller apartment. And I don't know if it was because of finances or if it was Dad's way of saying one less kid out the house, one less bedroom. I got to say something. Yeah. Nah, but I tell Sarah this all the time. It's a different Navy than what it was then. It's not a forgiving Navy. the stuff that I did and I got caught up with, I had real good leaders. I had real good people looking out for me, and that knew my situation, my story. And I don't know if they just felt like we got to take care of this kid because he has nothing to go back to, or it was just it was more forgiving back then. So there was plenty of times that I was like, man, like what am I doing? Got caught up a couple of times. And at the end of the day, anything that bad happened to me in the Navy, like I put myself in a situation. Okay. Like, wrong decisions, maybe wrong people I was hanging out with. But at the end of the day, it starts and stops with you. Yeah. And that was the accountability piece that I had to learn going through. But my life, and I'm not trying to sound corny in this, right? But my life really changed when I met Patricia. Yeah. Like when I met her, like she got me. I don't know what it was because it was dollar beer, so it was dollar beer when I met her. So it wasn't like she could tell like what she was dealing with, working with, right? But when we decided, to be a couple, and engaged and married and all that stuff that goes with the process, she really directed me in the right path, and with her patience and guidance and love is what got me where I'm at now. But back then it was bad. It was bad for me.
It's when you meet that one person that can help you, like, because for the most part we're going through life, we're just kind of headed, we're going in whatever direction. But then when you meet that person that can help you find your direction and put you on that path, like it's beautiful. Because honestly, that's what I can say like about Ash. Like me being with Ash, I feel I have more direction on what I'm doing, what I'm doing for. Like now, when I know I'm working because I have a purpose to work. I'm working for her, working for me, working to better ourselves. So yeah, bro, that's wild, man. So like, you've been overseas a lot. What was your favorite place to visit?
Like the younger days when you were partying, or like the sightseeing stuff?
Okay.
So they're afraid, and he's trying to set me up. He's talking about my family, my wife was there. I got my son right here. Hey, for the record, this dude has no guy code me, man. Like when Tommy was young, I was trying.
Now I'm better.
Now you're better because it has a benefit him now, right? Yeah. So whatever I say, but you gotta go talk. Hey, mom.
Hey, guy code me. Okay, so
I think for me,
when you were younger, and then now when you got church status,
La Spezia, Italy was a nice spot.
Say that.
La Spezia, Italy, but that was a good spot. And then sightseeing, probably had to go to London, UK. Yeah, London's beautiful.
Okay, so how was it in Dubai? So you were in Dubai too.
Dubai got money. You gotta have money, but Dubai was beautiful. So Abu Dhabi, the Burj Khalifa.
So you were on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. I'm not stunning, but how many people do you know that can sit there and say that they've been on the Burj Khalifa? Like, the Burj Khalifa?
Burj Khalifa. I don't know. Isn't Khalifa like a rapper?
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, Burj something.
Okay, that's a flex in itself, bro. Yeah. Like real talk, that's a flex. Like he just said, like Dubai's money, and of course your career took you out there.
But the thing is, I'll stop you with this, okay? Yes, it's beautiful, right? But like, okay, the flip side is, people always tell you like, thank you for like you go to Applebee's, you go eat, or you go to a store, you full off, you bust out your minutes, say, oh, thank you for your service, right? Thank you for your sacrifice, right? And for me, like this is all I know. Like I've been doing this since 18 years old. I got my diploma across the stage, and a week later I left. Yeah. But the flip side of that was, yes, Abu Dhabi and Jebel Ali was beautiful, but during that time, it was 2019, 2020. So 2019, a couple of years ago, when I was over there, my Patricia lost her father. Oh, okay. Yeah, she had just lost her father, and then I was there. I was up on the bridge. I'm good. I was up there in the tower on Christmas Eve. So then the flip side is, would you rather be home for you supporting your wife, or up there seeing the skyline of Abu Dhabi? Yeah. I mean, that sucked.
Yeah.
That sucked. That sucked. And the first man she ever loved, right? Mm-hmm. When he passed away, I wasn't even there for her. So like, I just in the beginning, like everything that she did for me, like to support me, and I wasn't there. I wasn't able to be there to support her. So yes,
Nah,
I was over there and I was sightseeing. I went to Ferraro Road, but it was during a time frame. It was Christmas Eve,
yeah,
and she had just lost her dad. So like,
I get that, bro.
it sucks that part of the see that you people don't see that part. And and that's what sucks.
So like, yeah, that is hard because like me, I do work a lot, but like I always said it, like on episode 17, the responsibility one, like I said, like I try to work till like at least 7, maybe 8, but I'm always home. You know what I mean? And like it feels good to be able to be home. You know, just to be able to know that I'm gonna see my daughter every day. She's gonna see me every day. You know what I mean? And of course, I crumble everything or I bunch everything up to make sure my days off I'm with her. You know what I mean? So I get that, and like, man, I like just being in that position. I bet you, like you said, it's bitter. It's like bittersweet. You know what I mean? Because you're around beautifulness, but it's hard to take it all in because what's going on at home, and you're always thinking about home. Like, and like real quick, when you were younger and you went to, you said Italy was your spot, right? Did you ever look and be like, yo, man, I am from the west side of San Antonio. I'm here. Did you ever soak it in like that?
Back then, yes and no, because the situation that I was brought into this world is, as we know, and I don't know how.
We gotta get to that. Yeah,
the situation I was brought into this world. You think about it, right? But like, it was one of those things. Like, I escape and I get to see what the world offers, right? But then as time goes by, you bring people in your life, and you take people out of your life, right? But as you get older, as you know, right, and then you have marriage and you have kids, and you like, it's not about me; it's about them, right? And so yeah, I think as I've gotten older, the last 7-8 years, I've really taken a step back, and because sometimes you got to step back and breathe and just look at what you've built, and I always say is Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was taken down in one day.
Oh yeah.
Right. So like what we have with our family, with Patricia, Vanessa, and Christopher, wasn't built overnight.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
But
but like you take a step back, and like I take a step back in my career. I said earlier, like, people who knew me back then would never believe where I'm at now. And I take a step back with the kids because they grew up in a very structured household. With rules and expectations, and then growing up as you'll see as a father, you'll be like, man, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing it wrong?
Yeah.
But only Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So only time would tell.
I'm like that now, and I'm always just like, I always want to do more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, that like.
But sometimes you gotta step back and just enjoy what you have.
And yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like you said, that's the good side.
Yeah.
That's what you have to. You have to be able to embrace that. Because you're not embracing that, then what is it for? You know what I mean? Like, if we're just always going, and we don't recognize what we're doing. Yeah. So I get that, bro.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like,
but going by what you said, like embracing what you accomplished. Yeah. Like, so to go back, like, for the Navy, the enlisted ranks, only 1% of the enlisted rank can make E9. So to represent 1%.
Oh wow, for real?
Yeah, and then like only 0.3% of that 1% get selected as command master chief. So like when that stuff like that happens, you gotta take a step back. That's a big accomplishment.
Ultimately, like, you're not a statistic.
Yeah,
you're not.
I mean, like, we're all statistics.
Yeah, but
right. But we like going in. I was a statistic.
Yeah, but you broke that. Yeah, you stood. Oh, that is awesome, bro. Like, real talk, because like that's what I always tell people. Like, yo, you can either be a statistic, or you can be whatever. And for us, being Mexican, coming from the hood, we're already set up to fail, just because we come from that position. So that is awesome right there. You see, that's why I love podcasts, man. I love the fact that I can bring my brother up here, I can bring my nephew up here. And real quick, because we outside, we're having a family event, so we're not gonna stay too much on the podcast. But real quick, what if you had any regrets? What would be one of your biggest regrets? And what would you consider your biggest accomplishment? Or have you not succeeded at that, or do you still feel you can accomplish more?
I don't want to sound corny, right? I don't believe like there's regrets. I think there's lessons,
Yes.
right? There's lessons for every failure. There's a lesson behind it, right? So like when you do something, you make sure you do it right because when you did before it was wrong. So that was a lesson, right? Like that's a lesson, right? So you could say down here when you did it wrong, there's a regret. If there's a regret, then you're never gonna learn from it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think. Yes, in the beginning, I got in trouble with the military a couple of years. In the beginning, for a couple of years, but like I wouldn't if I didn't go through that adversity. I don't think I would be able to accomplish everything else above it. So like I don't regret it because it made me who I am now on the enlisted ranks and the chain of command. And I could relate to young sailors like Roy Garcia being young and dumb. Like I was young and dumb. I've read that chapter before.
Yeah.
All right. So I could be relatable with them with that. But I don't think there's regrets. The biggest accomplishment, I mean, it comes down to my wife and the kids. Like at the end of the day, like I firmly believe like we are a product of our environment. Right. So if you surround yourself with some good people with good values and morals, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna be successful. And we're not measured on what we did like life wise. We're measured on what comes after us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So for me, my biggest accomplishment is a family.
It's like when they say thug life, that you give little infants.
Yeah.
That's everything. Teach them respect, show them respect.
Yeah.
And that's what you get in the world. You know what I mean? You don't get someone that's misunderstood that is ready for defeat. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what it is. Like, parents just don't want to be parents, and that's what it's easy to see the problem, but it's hard to fix the problem because it's like it takes one to just want to do. Just take care of their responsibilities. But yeah, I really appreciate it.
But I'll close this before you shift to Chris. The first time I ever got in trouble, right? I'm in the chief's mess and they're yelling at us, yelling at me why we did what we did, got in trouble. I don't even know the guy's name. I was about like 19, 20 years old, and he yelled out, if it's to be, it's up to me. Now I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. And I try to live like that. Like if anything is gonna happen, it starts and stops with you.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
So. That's no, bro. I really appreciate that. Bro. Thank you so much. That, ladies and gentlemen, that's my brother Roy, Mr. Garcia. That's freaking awesome. What? You don't have a nickname for him?
El Chico.
Oh, no. Tío Vaquero. This is Tío Vaquero. This is what my daughter Mia is calling him Tío Vaquero, so we rolled with that.
But why do you say El Chico though?
You were cheap growing up, man.
Oh, why?
Yo,
you had a purpose, boy, but you had to reach.
Yeah, we didn't really have much.
But I'm the same way now too, though. So
yo, I
that passed down.
I remember some things, man. Like I felt my brother got it bad when we were younger. From what I can remember, but then again too, I was really young when you were around. I was like 13, 12 maybe. And it was wild. But I remember back in the day, you always used to have this Charlotte Hornets hats, always flat base, everything. I used to love that. Like that shit was dope. Muggsy Bogues because of this gentleman right here. That shit was dope. But yeah, so Chris, Mr. AKA Hollywood, Mr. Hollywood. I see that you're on your own.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
definitely a huge accomplishment.
So from living with your parents, living in roommates.
So
to now being where you're at now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? How is that? How is all this mentally for you?
I mean, at first it was definitely hard, living on my own at first. But I think now I've kind of gotten a schedule or routine where it's just life right now. You know what I mean? I'm just going with the motion, and obviously, they help me along the way and stuff. But I'd say I'm doing pretty good right now. I'm proud of myself. I think more than anything, it's just I'm proud of myself.
So you are a professional welder. So when you got out of did you know you wanted to do that when you got out of high school, or was that
I'm gonna be honest with you. The day I graduated, because he wasn't there for my high school graduation day.
Oh.
He went out to sea that same day I graduated.
I think I remember that.
So that day I was graduating, he was on the boat. He was going out to sea, and And before he left, he told me, he's like, look, he's like, when I come back, I want to know, like, you gotta have a plan, because you're not gonna be slouching around here. Like, you either get a plan, and I'll make one for you. So I was like, fuck. So
either your way
yeah,
or my
so,
way.
and I was starting to limit my options to kind of narrow down. I know I didn't want to join the military. That was
one thing
off the table, and it's no disrespect, but for me, I've lived that lifestyle my whole entire life, and I wouldn't want to put my future family and kids and wife through that. You know what I mean? So my mom, I think a week after I graduated high school, she sent me a text. She was at work, and I always say I wouldn't be I wouldn't be a welder if it weren't for my mom. And I stand on that. But she called me, she's like, hey, we're gonna take a tour at Tulsa Welding School, and I was like, at the time I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, all right, like I was all right. When we got there, and like already in my head, I already made up my mind. Like, no, like I'm not. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was like, you know what? Like, she's taking the time out of her day. I'm gonna do the same. Yeah. So, he's just talking and I was blabbering and stuff, and then we take a tour, and I was like, all right, this is like, I don't know what it was, like the smell of like the metal that was just like, all right, like this is pretty cool. But what really got me, he showed me how much I can get, like starting out getting paid and stuff, and I was like, where do I sign at? Those are my exact words. I was like, all right. And then where I work at, we have a neighbor who works there, and he's like a project manager or something like that. And he said, yeah. I think it was December 22nd or 23rd. I took a tour. I'll never forget it. And we went, took a tour, and we spoke to the manager of the steel shop, which is what I work at for that department. And he said, yeah, just if you graduate, because we get tons of applications all the time, where we see that they went to Tulsa Welding School and they never graduate. He said, but if you graduate, well, how are you going to get all the benefits and all that, like straight on? So and then from there, I've been doing that for a year and like 3 or 4 months. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I love it, but the conditions are just the worst. The spots they put you in, especially because of my size and my build, they can't send the big guy in, to get my spot, so they're gonna send me. But other than that, it comes with the job, just like injuries, part of the sports and all that.
So with something like that. Is it like, how like if you speak Spanish, you get paid more?
No.
If you can get into smaller spots,
yeah.
Do they hook you up more?
No, they don't. But that's the thing. But when I went up for when I asked for my raise a few months ago, that was one of the things I remember put on there. Like I'm a smaller guy, compared to these grown ass men, in their 30s and 40s. So it's like, and working at a shipyard, it's one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. It's like top 5, one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. So it's like, if you're sending me in tight spot, there's a possibility you could get stuck, and no one's gonna ever find you. And so that's never happened that I've been there, but it's a possibility.
Wow. So okay? So you're in Florida.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it hotter down here, or is it hotter up there?
I mean, when you're working, it's always hot.
Yeah, because I work outside.
Yeah. So the other last week it was 95 degrees, and I got coveralls on. I have welding sleeves and stuff, and I have a leather hood I have to wear. So already the leather attracts the heat. I'm welding in the sun. There's no tent, so you got the leather hood on my face. Yeah. You got your welding, and that's that heat. That's another thing you got from the sun. So
that sounds a little bit harsh right there. Because just for you to do your job, all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, some people don't, but I have a ton of scars and stuff on mine. You can't really see them because of the tan, but I have a bunch of scars and stuff on my arm and on my leg. I have a scratch.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And you said it's a shipyard?
It's a shipyard, yeah.
So when you're welding, what is there a purpose of why you're welding?
Yeah. So the ship we're working on right now, well, it was a commercial boat. Commercial boat, it's they have cargo and stuff on crates, but they found drugs on it, and the Navy bought it. So now we're modifying it to the Navy standards, and so we're adding all this stuff, we're adding all this equipment on there to the Navy standards and stuff. So we're welding all these big old units to put on. We have to weld that down to the ship, and these looks like a T and stuff. So we got to weld that to the surface. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah,
bro. In an ironic way, he does what you did, because you were on a boat. He's on a boat.
Yeah,
you were out serving. He's fixing.
Well, it's not a boat. It's a warship.
It's a warship.
So warships.
The one I'm working on.
Oh, you're on warships. I call them warships.
Okay. Okay, and these are ships or these are boats?
But it depends on what it is. With the one I'm working, it's like a boat.
But yes, but so on my memories, on my Snapchat memories, like when I was at Shorty, I used to go on the ship to help these guys get trained and qualified, right? And I would like take videos of the kids. You know, I say kids, no disrespect, right? But young sailors, doing God's work, right? And they're doing stuff, and I'm like taking pictures and videos of them doing work. And when it comes to my memory, I put it on my Snapchat now, right? And he's always guessing, oh, that's this space or that's that space. I'm like, look at this boy, man.
And you see, that's the connection right there.
Yeah, but I'm trying to do a welding competition, man. He's scared, man. He's scared. He's scared.
He's like, let me show you something.
I get paid to weld.
Hey, you know what, bro? That's what I am like. I'm like, I don't mind driving, but I'm like, yo, you get paid to drive.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't really want to drive that far, you know what I mean? Like, I can make $100 going to San Antonio. Like, I don't want to do it for free, you know? Nah, so I feel that. But so how long have you been doing the welding stuff?
Coming up on 2 years, but I'd say I really started like, you know, getting better at my craft for the past like 6 months now.
So from the position you're at now, is there ways to move up? And if
there's definitely ways.
Like, what's your goal in that particular field?
Well, I started out. There's this thing called when you first start out, they put you at Firewatch. And Firewatch it sounds like a good gig, but it's the most painful. Like it sucks. So you know they say, hey, all right, go to the space and you bring a fire extinguisher like on a Navy ship. They're really required on Navy ships, really. And you just sit there all day in a tank in a space on the ship, and you gotta make sure like there's like no fire starting. So like I could be so like for example so let's say he's a firewatch, so I'm welding and he has to work at the adjacent space where I'm working at and make sure there's like no like burning like nothing burning up for like, and I do that for like 9, 10, 8 hours a day. Like it sounds like it's like easy money, but it's like when you're in my position and you're trying to get better, you're trying to improve, and you want to be that guy, you want to be their guy to fall on. You can't do that when you're not getting all the opportunities. So, but now I'm on a crew, and I've earned a lot of respect from my supervisors and stuff, and now they're like, go well this, go well that, and I've earned their respect, and they trust me now.
So. Hey, but for real, I tell them all the time, as a sailor, I hate shipyard workers. There's a lot of these mofos are lazy. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, they're lazy. And if I watch, they'll be on the phone listening to music and not pay attention to the welder.
Okay.
So the USS Austin, like 3 years ago, the fire watch wasn't paying attention, and there was a fire on the other side, and it burned a good chunk of that section. And the ship had to get fixed, do all that refurbishing, and it extended them for an extra 2 years. Well, that ship was supposed to go to Rota, Spain, to relieve a ship there to come back home.
Oh, awesome.
So they couldn't send that ship, so they had to send another ship. So it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
People ain't paying attention. That's a domino effect.
No,
I'm sure they're gonna get fired, right? Yeah. But yeah, I tell them all the time that you better, slack it off.
It's bigger than what's in front of it.
Yeah,
like you said.
Because guess what? There's a lot of Machi Garcias walking around on the ship, and they'll drop it down on these lazy shipyard workers, man. I say he's lazy, but there's some lazy folks out there.
And you see that it only takes one. When one person can mess it up for the whole crowd, you could have 9 perfect ones, but that one is gonna have a bad reputation for everybody. So that's dope. That's really interesting. Like I see what you do, but then again too, it's kind of like I'm working, so I'm kind of just going through my stuff. But yeah, man, it's awesome to be able to look at Snapchat and just even with just the internet, we're connected. You know what I mean? Like I kind of know what you do. I know what everybody does just by that. You know what I mean? And we're still in tune with everybody's life, even though we're not there. But of course, when you this has been a long time coming as far as just for us to want to sit down and just really have a conversation. And ultimately, that's what podcast is to me. Like I just like having dope conversations, just having. And like I said, getting the side of what you're doing, getting the side of what you're doing. And off of that, real quick, I want to go into some hip hop stuff. How y'all feel about the whole Takeoff situation? Do you know what Takeoff is? No, my brother,
Tupac,
yes, you see that
DMX.
That's us. But I wanted my nephew to feel
like Sherry Brown.
Yeah, you see, I wanted my nephew to feel home, so that's more direct towards you. Yeah. How do you feel about Takeoff, and how do you feel about Travis Scott with not getting getting the charges dropped?
I mean, are you talking about the where he got shot and stuff and all that? And dice.
Yeah, that's a takeoff.
I mean, like you said earlier, and I'm a firm believer in that. So you're a product of your environment. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna hang around thugs, thug shit's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sucks that that's how it is. But I'm a firm believer you're a product of your environment.
From my point of view, I think it sucked because this fool had nothing to do
Yeah.
with what was going on. Like,
Yeah.
he was just literally standing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like we have something going on, Dom right there,
Yeah.
and Dom the one that gets hurt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're like, whoa, like,
Yeah. He had nothing to do with it.
He had nothing to do with
Yeah.
it. But what about the whole Travis Scott thing?
You saw me with the shooter.
Yeah. You said that's what
I love Travis Scott, so but I'm gonna try not to be biased here. I don't want to offend anyone, but I honestly don't think it was really. It's all about perspective. You know what I mean? From a fan's perspective, if you're in the crowd, it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? You see everyone jump. It's like from his perspective, and I've been following Travis Scott for years now. Like, all of his concerts look like people are dying.
Yeah, and he encourages it.
Yeah.
So to me, I was mixed. I was kind of in the middle because I was like, yes,
same.
It was kind of like, okay, it can be his fault, but how much kind of like I've never been on a stage like that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Like,
it's like when you're looking out at the crowd, you have the earpiece in your ear, you got all these lights on you.
So I could understand that, but to me, then it's like, man, like that's just messed up.
Yeah,
because ultimately these people weren't there just because they were a fan. They were super hardcore.
They wanted to be there, and they wanted to
because that's really what he attracts. Is like hardcore fans. Yeah, man. You know, like I said, that was something I wanted to ask.
Is it the Houston? Or
the Astro World.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Travis.
Like the 9-year-old.
Yeah, no, it's sad.
Well, okay. So, what do y'all feel about? If you can talk, you can talk about it. What do y'all feel about the submarine? And like
those guys, I don't know, man. It's
like, did you hear about the son?
Yeah, he didn't want to go on there.
No, well, he didn't want to go on there, but on the flip side, he was like, I don't know if he was a genius, but he didn't like he could do a Rubik's Cube like in 20 seconds.
Yeah. He wanted to do it against World.
Yeah, he had a Rubik's Cube with him.
Wow.
So that's pretty wild.
Yeah. He's trying to break the record.
Yeah. What do y'all feel about Kanye? How y'all feel about Kanye?
Yeah, idiot.
Yeah.
I love his music. I kind of lost touch with him when but I love his music though. I think Donda, that's one of my favorite albums and stuff.
I've yet to hear the one on that stem player.
Oh yeah, me either. I heard some of the leaks. There's like one or two songs.
Honestly, I haven't heard nothing from it. Like
really, yeah. They have it on SoundCloud.
Even on the internet, well, you see, I don't really get on SoundCloud that much.
I only do it for like unreleased music and stuff.
Yeah, that's wild, man. So yeah, man, like I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you, brother. Like. It's been a long time coming. Like I said, I've been doing my thing, but I love it when I could have, like, I've had my nephew Dom on here before. I love it when I could have my family on here, show them, give them a platform to talk, say what they got to say. And, like, as of yesterday, I believe the countdown has begun for my brother to be back in Texas. It's, like I said, man, I'm about to be 38 this year, I believe.
Oh.
So if I'm 38, you can just imagine him. He's possible. But and like I said, he left when I was 13. So you know what I mean. Like he's finally coming home. You know, it's a beautiful thing. Like his accomplishments in his career has led him to where he's at.
Definitely,
it's allowing him to boomerang back around. That's what he did. He went out in the world. He got successful, and he has his son on the path to being successful. His brother's on the path to being successful. His other brother, his sister, we all on the path to being successful and really going forward. But I really appreciate y'all.
I was gonna say another thing too. But I was telling them yesterday when they were saying I'm really proud of them, my mom and dad. You know, especially where growing up, where he came from, where you guys came from. You know what I mean? It shows that no matter where you come from, you could always rise to the occasion. Adversity and all that. And it's a lot of respect. I look up to my dad a lot when it comes to challenges and stuff at work and in life.
That's good. And like, there's a quote from Young Dog. He said, "If your son doesn't want to feel like you and look up to you, then what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And it might not be specifically word for word, but Young Dog is a very, very firm believer of fathers taking care of the children, and just really being a part of the life. R.I.P. the dog. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. I'm still going back and forth with it, and I talked to Patricia a couple times. a couple months ago, but I'm thinking about putting everything in a book. And for sure, the name I'm going with is Acceptance.
Acceptance, ladies and gentlemen.
Acceptance.
Acceptance.
And it's just trials and tribulations from the time I was a child to where I'm at now. And I feel like a lot of people could relate to what I went through as a family.
It's an inspiration.
Yeah, as a sailor, as a young father, and a husband. So acceptance. I'm still going back and forth because there's some sketches that might come out, right?
Yo, that's one book. The other book is not a statistic, bro, because that's a story in itself.
Yeah.
Like, cause bro, like I said, like you're a 1%er. Like you're in that percentage. No one can take that from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone could work for it, but that doesn't mean they're gonna get it. Not no disrespect to nobody, but it's like, yo, bro, like there's 2%ers in the world. Those are the rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a part of a percentage that no one could ever touch. In my opinion, I like that just blew my mind when he told me so. Like that's just awesome, bro. Like I really love it. Ladies and gentlemen, my brother got some book coming soon. I'm pretty sure my nephew, he's on top of his game, so I'm gonna look for some work down here.
Oh,
You know, I'll put this out if anybody's hiring for welding, holla at your boy. You know, so we're about to enjoy this family event. Shout out to my nephew Dominic, he's been chilling right here, chilling with us. Shout out to my brother Roy, my nephew Chris, aka Hollywood, my brother Anthony for allowing us to be here, my beautiful wife, my beautiful daughter, everybody, all the beautiful family. This is Landing on Mars. I am your host, Nestor the Spitter, aka Nestor on Mars, aka the Stocious, aka you can call me whatever you want to call me, but you cannot call me broke and lazy.
Uh-huh.
Yalla.
Yeah.